Hello and welcome to the No Balls Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick McDonald, with me co-host Sheldon Kaufman. Today, we're doing the Lakers off-season recap and preseason predictions episode. If you don't know how this works, we give every team their own full-length episode, ultimately ending in a 30-team predictions full episode coming in 3 days, I believe, or 4 days from the posting of this episode. So that'll be really exciting. We're amped up for that. Before we get started, Sheldon has a Laker related trivia question. There's a million different ways that this one could go. We'll see if I can get it right. You're smiling, so I don't think I will.
Well, no, I am giving you probably a doable one, but it's probably not one you're expecting. But in Kobe Bryant's last season, 25 to 2015, 2016, who was the starting point guard? Who was his starting point guard? 2015, 2016, Kobe's final season.
Now I'm tweaking because I thought this would obviously be D'Angelo Russell, but since it's a trivia question, it's got me second guessing. I think I'm gonna stick with D'Lo though.
Yeah, it was D'Lo. That was a terrible terrible Lakers team. I think I saw like 28 wins or 17
Yeah,
wins actually.
if I had to guess, their starting lineup was D'Lo. Uh, I don't think KCP was there yet. Kobe played the three, Randall played the four, and then it was like a disrespectful. Luol Deng didn't play enough, but was supposed to be a starter for them, I think. And then Mozgov might have been their starting center actually.
It
Um,
was it was it was Roy Hibbert.
Post prime
Roy
Roy
Hibbert.
Hibbert.
Yeah. Roy Hibbert and Jordan Clarkson. That Jordan Clarkson was
Uh,
playing the two. They had Brandon
yeah,
Bass on that team. Wow. That's crazy.
yeah. I
Brandon
thought
Bass.
Clarkson was a bench player at that point still. Dang. Okay. Shout out JC. Not on the Knicks though. Get off my team. Anyway, regardless, we will move forward to the Lakers. This current Lakers team. Similarly to that Lakers team, they do have a 40-year-old on this team in 2025. This season, the Los Angeles Lakers, as you can see up there, were 50-32, third in the Western Conference, despite only a 44-38 expected record, which was 14th in the NBA, and a 14th ranked 1.45 SRS, which is opponent adjusted net rating. Basically, how well did you play against your opponents? At home, they were 31-10. On the road, they were 19-22. Pre-All-Star break, they were 32-20. Post All-Star break, they were 18-12. Versus the Eastern Conference, they were 14-16. Versus the West, they were 36-16. In clutch games, they were 23-16, which was pretty damn good, and they were 3.8 clutch net rating, which was 13th in the NBA. What was the big key for this Lakers season specifically? How did you really take to their big deadline move of getting Dorian Finney-Smith?
Yeah, great move from them getting DFS. I was very low on it. I don't know why, but I just really hated DFS during that like whole month. I don't really know what my beef was. I forget why, but there's like some reason I just was not rocking with him.
Definitely
But
sold a
in the beginning,
parlay.
yeah, probably that's probably what happened, honestly. Although I really hope I wasn't betting on the DFS Nets. That would be that would be rough. Um, but yeah, I mean the biggest thing about the 2025 Lakers is that they got Luca. Obviously, as you can see by that great post All Star break record. Struggled against the East, which is a little weird. 14-16. They were like really good against the West, so they low key like could have got that second seed if they were a little bit better against the East. They were really good in clutch games, despite having not the best uh, net rating in those circumstances, but obviously played like levels ahead of their uh, expected record. It's a really good season from the Lakers, and JJ Redick proved that he's a pretty good coach as well.
We brought this up in the Mavericks episode. Last year, we were blessed to figure out the starting lineup for the Lakers before the season started, and in that starting lineup was D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Davis. That feels like ages ago now, and it's less than a year, probably a little bit more than a year. Still, like so much has changed for them in the calendar year, and here we are talking about them still with LeBron James on the squad, and now they have Luka Doncic. JJ Redick in his first year as head coach was pretty good. To start the year, they had like a really interesting offensive scheme built around Anthony Davis. They no longer have Anthony Davis on the team. And it was overall like a team that not limped into the playoffs. Like they played pretty well going into the playoffs, and they just didn't have enough talent wise. They didn't have enough continuity wise as a team together. And I think this is the year where we'll kind of see what will the Luka Doncic, uh, JJ Redick Lakers look like for the foreseeable future. We'll talk about their offense. It's a hodgepodge of a ton of different forms of the team. They were 12th in offensive rating at a 115.9, 16th in preventing turnovers, 23rd in offensive rebound percentage, 20th in pace. Um, Play type efficiency, 4th in isolation efficiency, 10th in pick and roll handler efficiency, 5th in roller efficiency, 16th in post up efficiency, and then 13th in transition efficiency, frequency takeaways, high frequency isolation team. I'll go run the splits on how much of that was Luka versus the rest of the team. And then, other than that, roller post ups were pretty high for them, and they didn't run a ton in transition. What were the takeaways for their offense for you?
Yeah, pick and roll stuff is really good, and they were a really good team. But when you have Luca orchestrating that pick and roll, it's a great offense. As you can see, they were very efficient with ball handler and really good with the rollers, despite not really having a great center after AD left. Um, but they were really good in both those categories. Really good in the isolation. When you have Luca, when you have LeBron running that isolation game, you're gonna see a lot of good results. The transition, they didn't get out in transition that much, but they still like boasted a pretty good efficiency, 13th in the league. So hey, maybe that's something you want to tap into next season. Something that stands out to me is the offensive rebounding for sure. I think that was a pretty big catalyst, or I don't even know if that's the right word, but it was a pretty big emphasis or a pretty big reason that they lost in the first round of the playoffs. Correct me if I'm wrong, Pat, but they were just getting outboarded um, by Rudy Gobert and those big forwards with Julius Randle. Slow team, 20th in pace. Luca likes to run the clock out. That's not really surprising from me. Um, but yeah, I think the rebounding stuff was a big problem. They got hurt, and the turnovers. But turnovers weren't the worst thing. I think rebounding, if you clean that up, your offense is going to be a lot better. As you can see, there's a lot of green. So I would say rebounding transitions. You got to clean up.
Yeah, I pulled up the isolation stuff. Luka Doncic, when he was with the Lakers, had a 22% isolation frequency, which is like double the highest team in the NBA. LeBron was 16%. Anthony Davis was 10%. Nobody else was above 8.8 for this team this past year. They were a team that, it was Luka heavy isolations, and it was a lot more down the stretch of the season. Um, yeah, they were a good team. A lot of the early season offense was way different compared to the late season offense. I think the same thing applies to the defensive end of the floor. Yeah, they were overall like still a respectable offense this past season with a bunch of things going in and out, revolving door wise. And I'm just really excited to see what Luka Doncic or what JJ Redick can scheme up offensively with a full off season, knowing that he'll have LeBron James and Luka Doncic on his basketball team. That's just going to be really exciting. I can't wait to see what that looks like. You ready to move forward to defense?
Yeah.
So the defensive side of the floor, they were ranked 15th in the NBA with a 114.7, 20th in forcing turnovers, 21st in defensive rebound percentage. Play type wise, they were 7th in isolation defense, 1st in pick and roll ball handler defense, 21st in roller defense. Post up defense was 12th, 11th in transition defense, fourth highest transition frequency, not something you like to see, but fourth highest isolation frequency you do like to see. Now, I will say this. They did play the first half of the season with Anthony Davis. They were actually a below average defense in the time with Anthony Davis. Post trading for Luka Doncic, not having Luka Doncic on the team, they were a pretty damn good defense for like 20 straight games, like one of the best in the league, and it was a very unique defensive system. I think they single-handedly, not single-handedly, but if JJ Redick didn't have to press a ton of buttons in the middle part of the regular season, the Thunder would not have won a championship because a large part of what the Thunder did against Nikola Jokic was based off of a single game in, I believe, mid-February, um, where the Lakers just like made it impossible for the Nuggets players to get Jokic the ball in the half court. And they were very much a swarming defense. We saw the Achilles heel of that swarming defense in the playoffs, where you have to do a ton of long closeouts and you cannot secure defensive rebounds. Often, 3-point jump shots just going straight to the other team for them to shoot more open 3-point jump shots. It was pretty like it was they would live or die on a very unique defensive scheme, and it'll depending on what this year looks like, they might have to do more or less of that. Uh, what stood out about their defense for you?
Yeah, definitely the way that they were able to negate the pick and roll stuff. I mean, obviously the rollers got to the cut when they got the ball, pretty good rate, but they weren't getting there that well, like 26th percentile frequency wise. They did good against like forcing them into a lot of isolation scenarios, and they good at defending those isolation scenarios. Uh, Again, the biggest thing for me is the rebounding and the turnover percentage. They weren't a team that were getting a lot of turnovers. They were relying on teams to miss shots. You kind of mentioned it, like teams had a lot of 3-point opportunities against them where they weren't really getting the best closeouts. And they just had to hope for a miss. But transition, like you said, they're getting out. Teams are running on them, but they're not really converting, which is really good. They did good at defending the post up. So overall, like not a bad defense, like you said. They really picked it up at the after they traded away AD, which is surprising. But I think some of the scheme stuff that was switched ended up helping them in the long run. Yeah.
And at the time of the trade, I think we were both. I think I was more quick to say that the Lakers still probably aren't a good team after the Luka trade because they were already struggling defensively with Anthony Davis, and now they were going to go a long time without Anthony Davis defensively and without Luka playing offensive for them. And right before the playoffs, I bought in a little bit, but I think they were a team that maximized themselves in the regular season, and it built up some expectations for them that they probably didn't need to have. They had a 6-win difference in their actual record versus their expected record, and weren't a great team in the clutch with clutch net rating. Um, so I mean, I think they maximized themselves in the regular season considering everything that happened. It was a great coaching performance from year one JJ Redick. I'll say that at the very least. They'll need to, work on some things. Obviously, the rebounding on both ends of the floor was not great. Their defense was not very disruptive. We'll see what things that they can scheme up going forward. We'll talk about their team scheme. Obviously, we've talked about JJ Redick being their head coach. General manager Rob Pelinka, Scott Brooks, Wizards legend, assistant coach, Bob Iyer and Greg St. John are assistant coaches. What do you have here on GM, coaching staff, scheme? What do you think?
Yeah, Scott Brooks might be the greatest assistant head coach of all time, but put him in that head coaching role, and if you don't have prime KD and prime Russ, things look a little shaky. Um, but yeah, offensively, especially when Luca came in, a lot of pick and roll stuff with Luca. And even just to get him mismatches in general, like to get bigs onto him, and then like they would clear out and then work the isolation. With some of the things I saw, they would spread the floor out and just let Luca or LeBron go to work. They would just space out and let those guys go into isolation. There's so much motion going on, a lot of off-ball screens, a lot of just guys running trying to run their mans into each other off the baseline, a lot of baseline screens as well. And they did a good bit of like pin down screens for shooters to get open, which was really effective for them. Um, yeah, and then defensively, I think the biggest thing that helped them was they switched a bunch, which was really effective for them. Switching made it helped Luke and LeBron play defense as well. Didn't make them exert a bunch of energy trying to fight through screens. They ended up like did good at disrupting through that switching method. I mean, and then they played drop with the big, but pretty much everyone else would be switching. Um, yeah, they wouldn't. They were just trying not to let people get into the paint. And also on offense, they definitely shot a lot more threes. That was a big emphasis of JJ Redick and his kind of modern day NBA thinking. Rob Pelinka may have pulled off like one of the biggest trade steals of all time, getting Luka. So he's doing great things. Um, Even though there's been a lot of negative talk on some of his recent draft picks, especially one Dalton Connect, which I'm sure we might get into at some point.
Yeah, you mentioned the switching. Like they like switched out of necessity because they couldn't contain guys anyway. So you might as well not give them an immediate advantage. At least make them earn the advantage was how they had to play defensively. And they did weird box and one adjacent things in the playoffs with Anthony Edwards. They did a lot of similar things in the regular season where they would kind of just like, Michael Porter Jr. Want to shoot the ball? Like, yeah, you're good, but you're not better than Jokic. And I think they like maximized everything they could have on defense. Offensively, once they made the Luka trade, that's kind of what we'll talk about because Anthony Davis Lakers was years ago, right? Um, Once they got Luca, they looked very Nuggets like, where they would run a lot of three-man action with LeBron, Reeves, and Luca. And I'll have a little bit more lineup data that I pulled up on the fly for that trio because I think that's actually really important. Um, yeah, they used LeBron and Reeves to screen for each other off the ball with Luca as a decision maker, and it worked numbers. Like it shredded people. With those three on the court last year, they had a 124 offensive rating, regardless of teammate pairings outside of those three. When those three were on the floor, they killed people. So I think they'll have a lot of stuff. They'll have a ton of ways to get easy offense for those three. Just really look out how they use LeBron and Reeves off the ball when you watch the Lakers next year. And a lot of that would end up with Hayes being thrown in the dunker spot when Jackson Hayes was on the floor. We'll talk more about Jackson Hayes. You ready to move forward?
Yep.
All right, draft summary. 36th overall, they get Adu Thero, who was quite an interesting draft prospect. I'm sure. I think in our mock draft we drafted him like 22nd overall. Does that sound about right? I think that was one of the Nets
Yeah,
picks.
he was definitely in the first round.
Um, in this draft, I had a Thero like basically in the mid 20s or the low 20s, and getting him 36th overall is really great. I'll let you talk about a Thero.
Yeah, 6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan from Arkansas last season. He played really great. 15 points per game, 5 rebounds, 54% from the 3 point line, 45% from the, or sorry, 54% from the field, 25% from the 3 point line, 68% from the free throw line. What's to like about him is definitely the athleticism. He's a high fly dunker. Really good stuff there. Super athletic finisher. Really great in transition. Something that they definitely need to work on as well. So that's a great addition right there. And then the defense is what you want when you're talking to Dude Thero. You're talking about the defense. Great size, really good quickness as well. And he can guard multiple positions. So you're getting a versatile defender who not only can play on ball defense and jump into passing lanes, but also is good with rotating, switching, and help defense. So I think that JJ Redick's gonna find some way to get him in the game, especially in defensive situations. Um, the size is great, and did pretty good in the mid range area with floaters and stuff like that. Obviously, the shooting is a little shaky from the 3 point line. Like I said, 25%. So that's definitely something that's going to need to improve if he wants to be like a rotational player. Um, and just defensively, sometimes he can get a little bit over aggressive, maybe get beat into by trying to jump passes or even create fouls in that area. But I mean, you're getting a super athletic player, and he's really good at defense, and he can guard multiple positions. So that's what you like in a switch heavy defense, and also in a defense or an offense that needs guys like that can finish high at the rim. Luca will. I mean, we can maybe see some Luca Thero alley oops in the near future.
Those would be awesome. I can't wait for those. Yeah, this past season when Adu Thero was on the floor, Arkansas had a 121 offensive rating. Their overall offensive rating was a 108. So, yeah, and that was with teams leaving Adu Thero open. Like teams caught on that he could not shoot the ball, and he was still making them pay. He's like probably, I would say, the best athlete in this draft. Just you combine size, length, athleticism. He's super explosive, catching the ball and just going. Um, and that just leads to a ton of rim touches for him. He's good. He has good footwork and change of direction with hops and euros at the rim. Um, and his handle's like still not even like that good, right? And he can get to the rim just off of his athleticism, which is great. He can't shoot, like you said, um, but he looks good enough offensively. His assist to turnover ratio was positive, despite his handle being pretty poor. And he's like really really good. I think he was also uh no, he was a junior, and I don't think he was young for his class, but he was 21 years old, and like you mentioned, all the defense, like he's like awesome on that end. He's got the length, he's got the athleticism. Uh, yeah, I like really think Aduthiero is going to be like hopefully a good player. The issues are going to rise if like he can't shoot at all. That's problematic, of course. But what player comps came up for a 2-0 for you?
Yeah, probably Peyton Watson was my favorite player comp. A super good defender, versatile, athletic, who like Peyton Watson's probably a better shooter, but he's also not like an elite shooter. So I think that kind of fits the mold of Thero's game right now.
Yeah, I really liked Peyton Watson as a comp for him until I went and looked at Peyton Watson's pre-draft stuff and realized that Peyton Watson is like a bad athlete. Didn't really think that was a thing, because he plays so great defensively. I really like the Tari Eason comparison for Adu Thero. He didn't really offensive rebound, uh, or no, he did offensive rebound in college. I was about to say he did offensive rebound a ton. He's got the athleticism. He's got similar length to Tari Eason. Tari Eason is probably a little bit better of a shooter, and I don't remember exactly how he was coming out of the draft as a shooter, but uh, if you get to Tari Eason's level as a shooter, that makes sense. Isaac Okoro also came up. Yeah, I really like Duke Hero. I think it's crazy that he went 36th overall in this class. I thought he was awesome. You got anything else on him, or do you want to move forward? All right, we shall do just that. Trades and free agents. Um, DeAndre Ayton they get on a 16 over 2, Marcus Smart on a 10 over 2, Jake Luravy on a 12 over 2, RJ Davis Exhibit 10 contract, Chris Mannon a two-way deal, Augustus Maricilionis Maricilionis. It's still not right, but I don't know exactly how to say it. Exhibit 10. Nick Smith Jr. on a two-way deal, Nate Williams Jr. on an Exhibit 10, and Anton Watson on an Exhibit 10. What stands out to you with these additions?
Okay, there we go. I mean, I guess they have a center, in DeAndre Ayton, a guy who we are not high on, or I don't know if you're still not high on him, but I definitely am not. Um, like 14 points per game last season, 10 boards. So, I mean, I guess he could help you in the rebound department, but probably one of the laziest guys ever. Uh, Played 40 games last season and only played 50 the season before. Super unreliable is what you're getting. Um, yeah, he's a guy that just like plays in the post too, or not plays in the post, but he plays inside the mid range. Like his game is mid range shots. I don't really know how how good his dunk is like lob threat ability is going to be at this point in his career or screen setting. I don't know if he's going to be as like disciplined in screen setting as JJ Redick's going to want him to be. I heard reports that or he said it himself that he wasn't even like he hasn't even worked out with Luca and LeBron yet. So I definitely am not that high on this. At least like the you're only paying him 8 million a year. Like that's the plus side of it. You're not giving him too much money. Um I guess is one way to look at it, but I'm not super high on the DeAndre Ayton signing, but I mean he gives you a center. Like yeah, you get it you're getting a center. Marcus Smart, or you want to talk about Aiden now or
I mean, he had a -6 on off on a 36 win team, and they made like a significant run once they benched DeAndre Ayton, or not benched. He was injured. Um, yeah, definitely not deferring to the better player who was a rookie. Definitely not what they were doing. Or Diop Reef, who was a better player than DeAndre Ayton last year. You mentioned like it's like it can tell it's entirely a work ethic, not even a work ethic thing. I've never really heard that he has a bad work ethic. It's just a mentality type of thing. In Phoenix, when Chris Paul bullied him into shooting shots around the rim, DeAndre Ayton was pretty good. I think as a center this past season, he averaged under 2 free throw attempts, which is like sounds impossible. And like DeAndre Ayton is a guy who like he makes free throws, so you would he has made free throws in his NBA career, so you would like him to get to the line. Yeah, 1.5 in his 2 seasons since leaving Phoenix. Like, how is that possible? Um, and like he has a good mid-range shot. Like it is good, but like shoot threes maybe. Like take a couple steps back. He talked about his 2K player shooting threes. Like maybe that'll help. I don't know. Maybe his 2K player needs to learn how to roll to the rim and catch a lob because his real life player used to know how to do that. I don't know. I don't know where when he fell in love with hook shots in Portland and icy roads. Um, but I think the real side where they need to get something out of him, because offensively they don't need to get anything out of the center position offensively. If they get well, they need him to set screens, which he also doesn't like to do. But defensively, they need to see something out of him. Like if he can secure rebounds at a good rate, which he typically has in his NBA career, he's averaged over 10 rebounds a game every year in his NBA career. That will probably help a team that's not good defensively. If the rim protection can be passable, maybe you can argue that this is a good acquisition. Other than that, it's like, I don't know. Jonas Valanciunas light. And we're not high on Jonas. Marcus Smart, what do we think about the Marcus Smart acquisition?
I mean, I think it's pretty solid. Like you're still getting a great defensive player. One, I mean, it's been a while since he won DPOY, but I mean, in Washington, he looked good defensively. He only played in 15 games, where he averaged 9 points off 40% or 39% shooting, which was a lot better than his time in Memphis in those 19 games. So maybe his shot's back, and I think if it is, then that's a really great pickup for them. But all in all, you're going to get a good defender, which is you need that. So they're really bulking up on their defensive type players this year. It seems like.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't know that Marcus Smart has played the last 2 years and then for the most part been unavailable, but when he has played, it hasn't been good. Like at really at all until the 19 game stretch you said with the Wizards where he shot the ball pretty well and the defense looked somewhat back. Um, he really struggled Like he was the odd man out on the Grizzlies this past year when they were like a good team. Like Marcus Smart was the guy who they knew they had to push him out some way or another. Um, he's definitely lost a step to guard like real point guards, but he's still physical. He still will like be a sicko. So maybe his sickoness will rub off on DeAndre Ayton a little bit, and that'll help. He'll still help a defense. He's not like the huge needle mover like people are expecting him to be, but like it's an NBA rotational player, hopefully still. I don't think people realize that there's a chance that he might not be anymore. Because that is like a real possibility. Like if he didn't have a good 18 game stretch last year with the Wizards, I'm saying he's not an NBA player anymore, but he still probably is. Jake LaRavia, I do think is an NBA player. I don't know if he has as high of a ceiling as Aiton and Smart, but LaRavia had his fourth year option declined after his second season, and that killed his trade value. He played good for Memphis last season, and then continued to play good for Sacramento last season. And yeah, he's just a decent like ball mover, shooter, defender, and like isn't like a nothing on offense. Last year he shot 43% from three. The year before that, in his third season, he or that this was his third season. He had really struggled to shoot before this past season in his third season. He's got decent size. He can move the ball, like I said, decently well. He's had around a two assist to turnover ratio, which is respectable from a wing player, and I think he's like the safest bet out of all these guys. Even if like there is definitely more upside to both Smart and Aiton. What do you think about Laravia?
Yeah, I talked about it in maybe the Kings episode. I did like Jake Collier last season. Like he shot the ball well from three, like we mentioned. He plays good defense, and he has that ability to play make. And that's definitely been like this year, especially on Memphis, was when he that playmaking was used to its full potential. So maybe we see him get a lot more of those type like passes, maybe put in more of a playmaking role. Not obviously like as like a secondary passer. He can definitely move the ball around the court. So I do really like the Jake Olivia pickup. And again, like all these guys is you're taking like chances on. So it's not like you're committing like a bunch of money to them. I think these are all besides the 8-1. I do like the Marcus Smart and Laravia pickups. I think Smart is a safe bet, and so is Laravia. Like you're gonna get something out of them for sure.
Yeah, I think all three at the least like are better than Jackson Hayes, who was playing rotational minutes for them last season. Um, Notable losses for them: Dorian Finney-Smith goes to the Rockets. Jordan Goodwin goes to the Suns. Trey Jemison goes to the Knicks. Alex Len goes to the Knicks. Shake Milton and Markieff Morris are currently unsigned. There's some pieces here. What stands out for you?
I think the biggest one is definitely Finney Smith. Like his defense was just like insane for them and just really helped them defensively. Like we said, the second half of their defense was really good. And who do they get in the second half? Uh, Dorian Finney Smith. So he played a big role in that. And also he was a reliable shooter from three. He shot 41% this year, Pat, from the 3 point line, which is like his best in 4 years. So there's a lot to like. There was a lot to like from Dorian Finney-Smith. Hurts to lose him to the Rockets. I think that's like a really big one. Jordan Goodwin was more of like a scrappy player, or not scrappy player, but he was like he wasn't not yet like a rotational player, I would say. But he was definitely going to be playing his way to get there. Him going to the Suns, he's going to have a great role there. It hurts that you don't sign him back, but like it's not like he was a huge part of your team last season. Let me see. Yeah, he
Yeah,
only
I'll
played
go on.
29. He only played 29 games for them last season. So I think this was more of like a future, like in the future, this might end up hurting them. But for the next 2 years, I think Finney Smith is the biggest loss.
Yeah, I think for them, uh Finney Smith, like you said, like Luca's best friend and was also very good for you. Like really good. Scheme versatility. I don't think they're necessarily getting back a Dorian Finney-Smith level player with any of the three players that they brought in. And that's a little rough, but he's like it's Dorian Finney-Smith. Like he's not unreplaceable, but did the Lakers replace him? We'll have to weigh that out. And then Jordan Goodman, we clearly like him more than the NBA does. I don't know, like getting Marcus Smart is fine, but I don't know how much better of a player he is than Jordan Goodwin, and it was the direct decision that they made was waiving Jordan Goodwin to clear roster space for Marcus Smart. I kind of think what they're gonna ask Smart to do, Jordan Goodwin might be better than at just taking point guard matchups. But there is possibility too that they want somebody who's going to be better against a wider variety of matchups. And I think there's an argument that Smart will be better against twos and threes than Jordan Goodwin is. I think that's actually true. Um, so we'll see how that works out. Um, yeah, other than that, like Jamison's a two-way guy. Like I don't know, he played more for the Lakers over the past couple years than he should have. But you ready to move forward? Spotrac time.
Oh,
Uh, we have LeBron here on the last year of his 35% max. Luka Doncic signs a 30% max for 3 seasons. As soon as that deal is up, he's eligible for 35%. Quite quite the deal to get Luka on if you're the Lakers. One of the best values in the league for how good of a player he is. Same money De'Aaron Fox is making, by the way, like lines up perfectly. So yeah, that's a steal. And then Rui, Austin Reeves, Vanderbilt, or not Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleba are all expiring contracts. In like 11 between 11 and 18 million dollars. So they have a lot of flexibility trade wise, next off season wise. They need to re-sign Austin Reeves, but that is going to be a next off-season thing for them to do. So, yeah, I'm interested. What do you have? Do you have anything that you want to bring up here?
um, I mean, it just looks like they don't have a lot of guys tied down for a long period of time. Besides like Luca and Luca, just really Luca. Everything else, like guys are going to be unrestricted free agents in a year or less, um, or a couple years or less. So that's definitely something to look at, and especially with LeBron. Um, yeah, one of your one of your biggest pieces is probably going to be gone. Even though he definitely, I don't know if he should be making $52 million this year. I feel like he could have took a pay cut so they can maybe sign someone else, but that's a discussion for another day. So yeah, I think that's my
Um,
biggest takeaway. A lot of unrestricted free agents coming up.
One of the three teams in the division with the Warriors and Clippers as well, playing for future cap space, which is quite awesome. Um, and like that'll reflect here where next offseason I believe they will have $100 million in max cap space. And they only ate into that a little bit, signing Ayton, Laravia, and Smart this season. And if Ayton is any good, he will not be under contract for the Lakers next season. So just take that into account. Lineup data, and I have a couple more things that aren't on the screen as well. Um, LeBron last season had a minus 5.2 on off. There is an awesome video that I made on this channel last year that midway through the year it was a lot worse, and I'm gonna pull up what the exact number was for like the mid-season point. They still had AD at this point in time. Um, it's actually going to be a lot of scrolling, so we'll see how long it takes me to find that video. But yeah, there was like a significant on-off swing with LeBron on the floor versus off the floor in the wrong direction for what you would want to see. Um, and yeah, other than like that, him and Luca were like a decent pairing at a plus 2.4. Luka without LeBron was a plus 17, which is crazy. LeBron just had really weird offensive signals. A lot of it was last year he was paired up in a platoon with Anthony Davis. Obviously, they're going to be better defensively with AD on the floor and LeBron off versus with against the inverse. Um, and then offensively, it was kind of a wash because the whole system was built around Anthony Davis. And then, LeBron playing without Luka last year was a minus 2.3. I think LeBron's in general net rating was like a minus 1.3. So, Luka was making LeBron better as well. And then Luka,
Shocker.
really surprising, right? Luka plus Austin Reeves was a plus 7.45. And then with the trio of Luka, LeBron, and AD, they were a plus 0, but they had a 124 offensive rating, almost a 125 offensive rating. I mentioned that earlier. If you look at the Jackson Hayes minutes, they're a minus 3.5, and they only have a 18.5 offensive rating. If you put any of their other players, their offensive ratings are like almost 130, and they're outscoring teams by 7.5 points per 100. So like it was quite literally like the center here is incompetent. They're better playing small ball. And I think I can even like pull up the numbers in small ball lineups. I think it would be like I mean, it's got to be good. Where is Mr. Jackson Hayes here? I cannot find. Okay, there's Mr. Jackson Hayes. In let's see, in 197 minutes, they were a 131.5 offensive rating, and they outscored teams by 4.7 points per 100 possessions with the trio on with Jackson Hayes off the floor. So maybe they do just need a center. Yeah. You got anything to make out of all these numbers?
I think the biggest thing to make out of this is not only the Luca and LeBron stuff, but the Luca plus AR. I think that's going to be a big key this year. Anthony, damn, Austin. I don't even know where that Anthony came from. Austin Reeves. Honestly, my breakout pick last year. Maybe he was maybe not a breakout pick, but he definitely took a step up. Averaged 20 points per game last season. Off 37% shooting, AR 15. If Luca can make him better and LeBron, this is like a legit offense that can do stuff on defense as well as we saw with the scheming last season. So I think that's a really big plus. I'm wondering what the plus minus of the LeBron Bronny minutes would be. Do we have that? Is that is that an official stat?
I can pull them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
If there
context,
even was minutes.
yeah, there definitely was. When my original LeBron episode was uploaded, it was an NBA Film Room episode. This video has obviously aged terribly because LeBron played good since this came out. On January 28th, LeBron had a minus 9.1 on
Mm,
off. So there was obviously a huge shift in play midway through the season.
yeah.
Some of that coincided with Luka like being on the team, so that even killed some of like how important LeBron was in the second half of the season. I'll quickly get the LeBron and Bronny duo. Probably the first father-son duo of all time to be outscored in NBA minutes played. Yep, they were a minus 57 in 10 minutes.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Good
Wait, does it show you how many minutes they played?
10 minutes.
Oh, in 10 minutes. Oh yeah, you just said that. That's crazy. Yeah, that's funny. All right,
Really funny.
that's enough of the Bronny talk. We
More
kind
than
of ripped on him last season. Maybe I'll say something. He was looking pretty good at some points in the cheat league.
Here's what I came away with for the new lineups. Luka, Austin Reeves, and LeBron had to start. Um, a lot of people want to move Reeves to the bench, but like their offense was so good with the three of them. It looks visually good and results wise has been really good. I stuck with Smart and Ayton in the starting lineups. The fake X factors for the Lakers, the fake big acquisitions. They are still going to be starting for this Lakers team. Didn't want to run small ball LeBron James at center, and I couldn't put and I couldn't get away with putting
Ooh,
Luka, Austin Reeves, and LaRavia in the starting lineup together.
did you hear my ooh? Though he
Yeah,
sucked.
I'm confused.
The
What's the ooh?
LeBron is not going to be playing the first 3 weeks of the season.
Wait, when was this announced? I feel like
No, this was definitely announced. This is definitely official. He's missing the first 4 weeks.
wait, when did this come out?
A couple of days ago, I think.
Okay, maybe this like just like went through one side of my head and out the other. Okay. Big Rui's probably starting then. Rui was awesome for
Yeah,
them last year. I don't know how we haven't mentioned Rui yet.
yeah, yeah. Rui was really good for them last season. Like he wasn't putting up like crazy numbers, but he was just super solid for them. But
Another
oh, go
He
ahead.
was another once fake good Laker acquisition that turned out to just be a good Laker acquisition too.
Yeah. Looking at the lineup, if even if LeBron's in it, I might put LeBron at the three and then start Rui at the four. Honestly,
Okay.
um, yeah, that might be my little addition to it. I don't. I'm interested to see how Smart would play at that three at this point in his career. Um, like how elite the level and how elite the level of play would be in general. I like him a little bit more off the bench, but I mean, putting him in there also gives you that defensive versatility, though. So I do see where he could definitely make his mark.
Maybe my Bronny hate is real because I have put Chris Dunn ahead of him on the Lakers depth chart, and Chris Dunn is not on the team. Um, so maybe it is real. Obviously, Chris Dunn is not on the squad. I just kept him there by accident because 15 players, and Bronny shouldn't be their backup shooting guard, but he is. Um, yeah. Other than that, depth-wise, what do we think about the depth of the squad?
Yeah. Um. It's it's interesting. Like Gabe Vincent, you know, he he struggled. He struggled with his time in LA. He's had his moments, but he's not a guy that I would trust. It's fun because you have like Thero and Vanderbilt. Like these are really good defenders. Uh, that's going to be something that's going to be really interesting to see, like how they're going to use those two guys. Maybe they throw them out at the same time. That seems like a nightmare to have to go against. But like the center depth isn't that great. You're relying on a lot of young guys and old veterans, but you have Luke and LeBron, so you're chilling. Um, I think the depth is enough to get them through their situation. Like they don't have to be an incredibly deep team because Luke can go out there and play 35 minutes, and so can Reeves and LeBron. So you don't have to fill up as much space as maybe some of these other teams would have to.
Yeah, you talk about Vincent. He's actually like he played pretty well last season. Which is stark contrast to how we would be talking about him going into last season. Off the top of your head, what do you think his 3-point percentage was in his first season as a Laker?
25%, 27%.
It was almost 11%.
Oh wow, that's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, he definitely stepped up. Like in like retrospect to his season last season. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
Gabe Vincent obviously wasn't like a shitter. Um, Even if we didn't think he was as good as he showed in Miami, like he played like a good player last year, like a respectable NBA backup guard is what Vincent showed himself to be. Um, on the bench, like you're relying a lot on Adu Thero, who is a rookie, and Dalton Connect, who was not good in summer league as a 24-year-old. Um, we'll see what that ends up being. Vanderbilt has been generally unavailable as a role player. That's really rough. When he's out there, he's a limited player. I would say this about their rotation. They do not need scoring from their role players. Like they have LeBron, Luka, AD. That's where all of their scoring and shot creation is going to come from. And even like, you know, Aiton, I guess, he can kind of create his own shot sometimes. And anyway, they need defensive pieces from their role players. Do we think the amount of defensive pieces here is like good?
I think because the equality or the quantity that they have, it is good. Like you have Smart, Laravia, Darrow, Vanderbilt. Even Rui can play some good defense from time to time. Shane, they don't have done, but uh, yeah, I think it's good enough, and I think you make a great point. You don't need scoring from these role players. Like those aren't the guys that are going to get you there. I think the defensive pieces are enough, though. I would say.
And even you look at like Luka teams in the past, like you don't need scoring role players. You need guys who can defend, and that's what's going to get them, winning 55 games and potentially making a playoff run. That's how all the good Luka teams have been constructed. Um, and we have to give Aiton his props. Luka will make any center look good. So Aiton, this is your season, man. Like, come on, let's go. We'll go to core questions. Do we think the Lakers improved this offseason?
That's tough. I'll go. I want to say no. I really want to say no because I think DFS was like a huge part of their team, and you bring in like guys that are not doing it at the level they are, but also you filled your center spot and you did get two good defensive players and a promising player in Laravia. I'll go yeah, but like by a very small margin.
That's my answer. I think like I can't bring up that Austin Reeves, LeBron, Luka stat and with like how great they were with anybody except Jackson Hayes in the lineup. I can't bring that up and not say that Aiton will hopefully at least be an upgrade to that. Um, and then, I really think Finney Smith and Goodwin is better than LaRavia and Marcus Smart. But like, like they did need, they wouldn't have been able to get Aiton if they would have re-signed Dorian Finney-Smith. Like I very marginally maybe. If Hero can be anything for them, then yeah, definitely. Just taking into account that like LeBron won't be able to have it year to year, even more now. That's gonna be rough, and like Luka isn't an Iron Man himself, so we'll see how that looks. Even though we're getting some good, body positivity for Luka, even though maybe that's not the word, but
Every year we get that body positivity.
yeah, for him and Zion too. I don't, neither of them are ever real. So we'll see if they're real when the season happens. Uh, they both do look like actually slim now. I think right after we recorded the Clippers episode, we saw Skinny Harden, and that lasted for like the preseason. So, um, yeah. Do we think they set themselves up better for the future?
No, I think I mean, I said it when I looked at the SPO track. A lot of unrestricted free agents coming up. Yes, you have Luca tied down for a while, and that is a very good thing. But besides that, you're not looking too great.
Yeah, I don't know what's extending Luca. I think is kind of fair. I don't really know what they have long term outside of just having Luca. Um, so I'll leave it at like kind of since they extended Luca. I do Thero like could be a guy who really hits and like is an NBA rotation playoff player. And I think if that happens, like that's actually great for a second round pick. I think they had the like 47th pick, and they traded $100,000 to the Bulls, and the Bulls were like, "Yeah, dude, let's go. We'll take the 100K to move down 10 spots." That's why the Bulls are in the spot that they are. I might also be throwing a charade at the Bulls, and they might not have been the team that did that deal originally, but it sounds almost right. Because they ended up 11th in the draft and or 12th in the draft, and I think four teams jumped. Um, maybe, yeah, because the Wizards and Jazz were both outside the top. Yeah, I think enough teams jumped. Um, so yeah, I mean it's just like Aiton. I think the key is Aiton's deal. If Aiton's out of him, Smart and Laravia, Aiton's the one who has like the upside to where if he hits, it can be a good long-term piece because he's only 25 years old, just like Luca is. Um, Aiton can just opt out if he's good, and you will have the ability to re-sign him to 125% of the previous deal that you gave him, which will be like not enough money to re-sign him. Let's see. Uh, he got like 5.5 million times 125. I got the computer calculator open right now. They can give him almost $7 million, which is not what starting center money is in the NBA. So it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough if they hit on Aiton, because they're just gonna lose him right away, or they could work him into cap space next summer if they wanted to. So, um, offensive MVP for them is Bronny James. What'd you
Dalton
say?
Connect. Dalton
Oh,
Connect.
that's a good one.
Nah. Luca.
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 Don't have to say anything more. Defensive MVP is Chris Dunn.
Yeah, that is very true. Um, I don't know really where to go with this one. Um, like Marcus Smart, is that crazy? Jared Vanderbilt, I guess. Um, I'll go Marcus Smart revenge tour. He's absolutely locked down for the Lakers. I'll go Marcus Smart.
If Marcus Smart is as good as people are saying he is, which he's not. They haven't watched him play in 2 years. Um, but yeah, like as soon as he went to Memphis, Marcus Smart's career was permanently on pause for Laker fans. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna say like I guess Marcus Smart, I guess Jared Vanderbilt. Um, both of those guys have serious availability issues too. You don't like to see that out of your role players. Um, LeBron was weirdly good defensively last year. Uh, in the second half of the year, he was really good. So I'll just throw that out there. I don't know. I don't know. There's a good chance this is like DeAndre Ayton's defensive rebounding is one of the most valuable defensive traits on an NBA team, and that's really, really rough if that's the spot that your defense is in. Because he might not even be. I'll pull it up, but yeah, you got anything on X Factor?
I mean, it has to be DeAndre Ayton. Like they need a good center this season for everything to work. Um, maybe like Dalton Connect for trade purposes. Like I've just seen so many things about his trade value being so depleted now. But I guess I'll go. Yeah, I gotta go Aiden. I think they need a strong center that can be a lob threat finisher and also play good defense and get rebounds because that's what killed him in the playoffs.
Okay, Aiden had a plus 2% change on Portland's defensive rebounding last year. So, like, that can be a positive for this Lakers defense. Like, certainly in the range. I kind of think he's the X Factor, too. If he can be a starting center, even though he's going to opt out and go make a ton more money, that is so big for this team because they are depth deficient. Behind him is Jackson Hayes. Um, like there's not an easier NBA role than be 7 feet tall, set a screen for Luca or LeBron, and run to the rim, and they will throw the ball exactly where you need it to be. There's like it doesn't get easier than that. Like this needs to be a good year for Ayton. Average more than 2 free throw attempts. Let's see that happen. You in your last year in Phoenix, he had 3. So let's see. Like, we don't need 3, but let's get 2.5 maybe. He's been at 1.5 the past 2 years, so maybe let's shoot for 2. Like let's see some serious ball out of you, Aiden. I believe. Um, I can't even say I believe in you. I always thought Luca was the better player in the draft, and everybody except the 3 teams that took him thought Luca was the best player. So. But he's an X factor for them. Other than that, do we have any Lakers talk?
No, I'm excited to see how JJ Redick in his first offseason, second year as a coach, is going to come out the gate.
Who's the best rookie from the 2024 Lakers draft class?
Okay, I don't even know who they picked.
Connector Bronny.
Oh man, I'm tweaking. I can't remember. How did I forget that? Connect. Come on, known Bronny hater. Can't give it to him. Can't give it to him. Uh, I don't know, man. I don't know what's happening with Connect or if he's gonna end up making things work out, but like he can still shoot.
Yeah, the Tyler Shook of the NBA. Yeah, shout out to Dalton Connect. We wish him the best. He was really good for Tennessee his super senior year. So
Yeah, he almost beat frickin' Purdue's Edie and Zach Edie's team that ended up winning it all.
yeah. Well, other than that, that will wrap up the Los Angeles Lakers. Next episode will be the Los Angeles Clippers. We have that one already recorded. That's a great episode. You should watch it when it comes out. Yeah, other than that, that does it for this one, and we'll see you guys then.